Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Donald Winter, and you should be in English 111, which is College Composition 1. I'm going to be your professor for the course for the next 15 weeks. You can call me Professor Winter, Prof. Winter, Mr. Winter, either or works. I'm totally fine with all of the above. So this class is essentially an expository writing class where over the course of the next 15 weeks, you will be working on a variety of different assignments, of course, papers and everything of that sort, where you will be examining the relationship between speaker and audience, analyzing it, examining some sources, weaving in those sources. There's going to be some opportunity to have some fun with the writing that you do as well. And there's going to be some interesting readings that you will have to read and critically think about as we go over the course of the next 15 weeks. So there is a buffet of things that we will be doing, and I hope that you find them enriching and helpful as we build writing, editing, and research skills and reading skills. Also, I'm going to take you on a quick tour of the class while I introduce myself here for just a moment. So I'm going to open up our e-learning website for you to look at just so you can see how to navigate things. So just to do some introductions really quickly, I have taught at Delta for about 10 years. My teaching experience spans almost 50, close to 12 to 15 years thereabouts. And in the field, I also have a considerable amount of writing experience. I am a poet by vocation, but I do have a lot of technical writing experience, writing in the workplace. So over the course of the semester, when we talk about the different writing that you will be doing, I will be connecting it to writing you may encounter in the workplace, because the truth is, a lot of people, obviously, you enter this class because this is a requirement for you to take, right? But the truth is, the skills that you learn in a class like this are 1000% transferable to careers that you may be going into, okay? I always, without fail, will have people come into English 111 and be like, why do I have to write papers? Why do I have to do any of this? And the truth is, that's a valid question. And the reason why it's important to learn all of this stuff is because we are living in a world where we communicate with one another verbally, through written word, and we have to be able to not only communicate ourselves effectively, but we also have to be able to interpret information. We have to be able to analyze, break it down, sometimes re-communicate that information to people, and ultimately understand that our world is a pretty huge community. And as an individual in that community, it's kind of our responsibility to make sure that we understand how that world works from the context of reading and writing. Okay. All right. That was my TED Talk. No, I'm kidding. The lecture video still has a lot more to it. Um, so if you go onto our course website, you will see that our section is English 111 WN 810. I use this section here for like overviews, like announcements, etc. You can see all of my information on this instructor profile, my pronouns, my office hours. All of my office hours are identified right here, and my email. If you go down further on the homepage, you will see this little toggle right beneath a calendar here, which is a very important feature that you may want to use. All right. So this calendar shows you that all the weeks open on Mondays and then they close on Sundays, right? I think it's a little bit easier to use this feature, this upcoming events. This shows you when the modules open. This also shows you when assignments are due. I think it's a very important list to have handy. So if you are a type A person like me and you like to whip out a calendar and like literally write down due dates, this upcoming event feature right here will be very helpful for you. Now, if you are new to taking online classes, and you're a little bit nervous about like, oh God, I don't really know how to like navigate this stuff. Tinker around with it, practice with it. E-learning is something that you need to kind of like explore just a bit for you to kind of grow comfortable with it. And honestly, that's the case with using any technology when you think about it. You have to expose yourself to it and work with it until you develop a certain level of comfort. All right. So that I would recommend you do. And otherwise, if you are nervous about anything, email me. Let me know. If you want me to hop on Zoom with you and talk about like how to navigate the class, I would be happy to do that as well. So anyway, here are the tabs at the top that you will be using the most. So obviously the syllabus you'll need to read through. I will be providing a general overview of that in this lecture video, but you'll need to look through it and read it because that is literally the all-encompassing document of the class, outlining course policies, outcomes and objectives, grade scales, the course calendar. It's an important document to look over, okay, and I would recommend you do that. The content section is the tab you will probably be using the most because all of the weekly modules are contained in this tab. We'll look at that here in just a moment. And then, of course, you will be using the grades tab to monitor your grades. You can use these other tabs as well. This just gives you a list of all the assignment drop boxes. This gives you a list of all the discussion boards. Um, you can view the class list. Mind you, your e-learning may look a little bit different than mine because I am on the instructor side. And P.S. I should mention, this is e-learning, or it's also called D2L. It's also called Brightspace. I call it e-learning. But this is Delta's learning management system. All right. If you struggle accessing any of Delta's things, my biggest recommendation would be finding our class and then bookmarking it by clicking the little star up here. This is if you're using Google Chrome. And then if you can make your bookmarks bar viewable by clicking these three dots up here and then hovering over bookmarks. That way you can just point and click and go right to our e-learning class instead of going to Google, typing in Delta, so on and so forth, just to make it a little bit more accessible for you. I might do a separate lecture video where I just show you how to do that because honestly, that's probably one of the big things that a lot of people tend to struggle with. All right, so if we click on the content section here, you will see that it takes you to a bunch of different modules right here. So you'll see that each module is dated for each given week. So we have about 15 to 16 weeks of the semester, depending on if you count like, spring break. But essentially, what you will be doing is you will be using these modules to monitor what we will be doing each and every week. All right. Now I do have a module that says students start here. This is just like some details on like whether your system works with e-learning, whether, like netiquette, like best practices for internet usage. My biggest piece of advice for using e-learning or any Delta system is when you are accessing it, make sure that you are using Google Chrome or Firefox as a browser. E-learning does not work very well with Safari if you're using an Apple product or Microsoft Edge if you were using Windows. So I have people who will try to submit assignments using one of those browsers and they end up emailing me being like, oh my God, it's not working. It's because you need to use a browser that's a little bit more, let's just say, compatible with all the technology. And that would be Google Chrome or Firefox. So since this is the first week of the semester, that might be something you may want to prioritize. Going to Google, doing a download of Firefox or Google Chrome, and then making sure that you are able to access e-learning okay. Our course textbook is right here. It's called Expression and Inquiry. This is not a textbook you buy. This is an open educational resource or an OER. We teachers love our abbreviations for things. It's an OER. So if you click to view this textbook, you'll see that it opens up to a page like this, and all you do is click Read Book. It's pretty easy to navigate both on a desktop computer and a mobile device. To view the different chapters, you just click this, see the contents bar up here, you just click this down arrow, and it shows you all the different chapters. You might have to click on a few of them to see like what sections you'll need to read. I also have a PDF version of this of this book that I will have linked in on e-learning along with this. And the reason why I provide that PDF is the bookstore will, if you prefer a printed copy, the bookstore will, for a nominal fee, print off a copy or, sections of the book that you may want printed. I would recommend just going through and finding the sections in our syllabus that we will be reading and printing those off if you choose to do that. The reason why I have it fully online is because my goal is to save everyone some money with textbook costs. Because let's be honest, textbooks are obnoxiously expensive. Other class readings. There will be a variety of articles that you will be reading. That is in this module here. I do have a module for the slideshows that I have during various lecture videos. An MLA section, we will be talking about how to cite sources as the semester goes along. And then, so if we get to our first week module, you'll see this is the introductory week. At the beginning of each module, I will provide you a to-do list of things that you'll need to do. Usually that to-do list will begin by watching this lecture video or a lecture video. Not every single week will have a lecture video, but most weeks should have a lecture video. Oh, I need coffee today. So the first thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to respond to this discussion post. So what you'll do when responding to a discussion post, you click on discussion number one, introduction. You'll click start a new thread. You'll type in your subject. You'll type out your response. Obviously, your response is going to be much more elaborate than mine. And then you're going to post. Okay, if you needed to add an attachment, you can add an attachment. Now, this is called a thread. You are posting a thread, like a topic where people can respond to you. In order to view other people's topics, you'll be able to see them pop up down here, and you'll want to click on them and respond to people's topics. All right. Now, again, yours may look a little bit different than mine. Actually, I can view it from the student view. Let me see what that does here. View as student. So if I'm going to it and I'm viewing it from your perspective, your e-learning page will look like this, okay? You just click on introduction. It looks the same, actually. Start a new thread, you would do that, and then you would see everybody else's threads down here that you would click reply to, all right? Um, so that in a nutshell is how the discussion boards work here in this class. Our first essay of the semester I have embedded in this module as well. Paper number one, the autobiographical narrative. I will be going over this a little bit more elaborately next week in next week's lecture video. But for this week, you may want to just at least read it and kind of gain an understanding of what it's asking. Essentially, you will be writing a two-page essay about the most significant event that has happened in your life, and you will be using some sensory details to describe that. I do have the due dates listed here. The final draft is not due till February 2nd. For the first two essays, I have pretty large windows of time to do them. And then for this week, the main writing that you will be doing is a diagnostic essay. So this essay, I want you to try to format it in MLA to your knowledge. So I have down here listed double space Times New Roman 12-point font, 4 paragraphs. I want you to explain what your greatest strengths and weaknesses are as a writer. And that's due at the end of the week, Sunday, 11:59 p.m. I want you to do that because the diagnostic is going to help me develop an understanding of where you are as a writer, and it will help me tailor my feedback to you as I go through and read your work. Okay. Now, clicking in the syllabus here. P.S. I can also view who has seen the syllabus. So if you have not read the syllabus and it's like next week, I probably will email you being like, hey, did you read the syllabus? You might want to check that out. But again, this is the all-encompassing course document. Every class should have one. Um, so from the get-go, you can find all of my instructor information on the top page of the syllabus, all right? My office is S Wing 211 on campus. I'm on campus Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Wednesdays, I have a lot of college meetings, so I'm typically not available for office hours that day. But for Mondays and Tuesdays, these are my office hours right here. And then on Thursday, I have about a couple hours worth of virtual office hours in the morning. So if you need me to hop on Zoom with you to talk about something, I'm more than willing to do that. If none of these times work for you, like maybe you have a busy work schedule, email me. I do office hours by appointment as well. So if you need to meet like on a Friday or something like that, let me know. Or if it's an emergency, I can meet on a weekend also. Um, my office phone number is listed right there as well. You can leave me a message, but keep in mind I'm only on campus for 3 days during the week. If you leave me something on a Wednesday and it's an emergency, I may not get it till Monday. So emailing me is the best way to go. I have my email synced right up to my phone. And essentially I do respond pretty quickly. I would give me a leeway of like 36 to 48 hours to respond. But you might be surprised. I respond relatively fast. Going through the rest of the syllabus here, basically you'll see a listing of the course information, like the description that you probably found in the handbook, and our course outcomes and objectives. Ultimately, our goals will be to produce formal first-year college level writing, practice critical thinking skills, practice critical thinking and reading tasks, and practice basic research skills. And of course, you can see that there are some um, bits of sub details beneath each of those, but um, you'll be gradually checking all of those things off your skill list as we go across the semester. Technology requirements I listed here, basically all that you'll need. This is an important piece of information right here. Delta College, each student can get Microsoft Office 365 for free. Or you can use Google Chrome, either or works, or I mean Google Docs, either or works for me. But when you are wanting, if you are interested in downloading Microsoft Office 365, basically you will open up your email and there are those like that, there's that little button with the windows. You click on that, and there will be a link that says download Microsoft Office 365. You'll click on that and it should download to your computer. Um, I need to double check for some reason the PDF with directions is not listed right there. I need to talk to e-learning to see if I can get that embedded um, right there for all of your convenience. If you need any help with that, just email me. Details for our textbook right here. Our course assignments. So this shows you a listing of all the different assignments that we do. The points tend to range between 900 and 1,000, depending on like how much work we end up doing. But the three main essays are an autobiographical narrative, which is more personal writing, a rhetorical analysis, which is more analytical writing, and then a persuasive analysis, which is also analytical. Ignore my cat in the background. So but you will see here that the big assignment at the end of the semester is the final portfolio. So this final portfolio is essentially the document where you are going to, instead of a final exam, you're going to be taking what you think your best pieces of writing are, and you're going to be making edits to them, and you're going to be submitting them for my review at the end of the semester. Let's see. Evaluation methods. I am a very elaborate grader. So for essays, portfolios, and discussion boards, I will not only leave comments typically, but I will also leave um, like your grade distribution in a rubric that you'll be able to see where your grade fell based on the different criteria. Now, when it comes to this class, and I will be going over this a little bit more elaborately next week, I am very much passionate about the writing process. I think the writing process is crucial in helping us develop our skills. So there will be points throughout the semester these three big essays. You will be in groups of three peer reviewing each other's papers. There will be a week where you will submit a draft for me to give you feedback on. Very few professors do that. I pride myself on doing that. Those are called conferences. But I will provide you written or audio feedback on your papers before you submit a final draft. That way you have a lot of like layers of feedback to use to apply to perfect your essay. Okay, so by the time you submit a final draft, should be pretty strong. Let's see the grade distribution here, course online structure. So essentially the weekly modules open on Mondays, in the morning and they close on Sunday nights. Most assignments will be due Sunday at 11:59 p.m., but there will be other assignments that will be due midweek, especially during peer review week, where you say by Wednesday you'll need to upload a draft of your paper, and then by Sunday night you'll need to respond to a few people. Um, Attendance and login expectations. I'm pretty lenient on attendance, especially for an online class. Um, if I notice that you've not logged in a week or two, I will email you and be like, hey, what's going on? Y'all right? Uh, for this type of class, if you miss 1 to 2 weeks, that could be very detrimental for your grade because you'll fall behind. Okay, and you don't want that to happen. If you do know that something is going to come up, you can email me. If there is an emergency situation, if say like if it's like a medical situation, just email me and let me know. Like I don't necessarily expect a doctor's note or anything like that. A doctor's note is appreciated. Um, but if you are able to at least give me a heads up, I'm like, hey, something came up. I'm gonna be like I had to miss for this period of time. I trust you at your word. We're all adults here, right? Um, but like if you do submit me a doctor's note, like obviously make sure that it's super general. That is your private information. I don't need to know specifics on like diagnoses or anything like that. If there is a school related event, like a standardized test or anything like that, especially if you're dual enrolled, I will let you submit uh some documentation for that. And obviously, that will be a situation where I will allow you to miss. If there's a death in the family or a friend group, I am really lenient on this because some professors will ask you for an obituary. I am not that person. Sorry, my cat wants out of my office and he's driving me nuts. Um, anyway, so essentially, for school related events, I'm pretty lenient, but for if there's a death in the family, just let me know. I don't expect an obituary because the truth is that's kind of dark to expect somebody to bring an obituary. But that's just my opinion. But I'm pretty lenient on makeup work. I do allow makeup work. Mostly as major assignments, projects, papers, portfolios. Obviously, though, if they are like extremely late, like if you submit a paper to me that's like 3 weeks late or more, I will deduct some points. Let's see. Class readings. Um, so all class readings are under the content tab. If I find that people aren't doing the readings, I do reserve the right to do quizzes. Rarely ever do that. When you're emailing me, make sure that you are being professional. Essentially, make sure also that you are establishing your name, the class, and a clear request that you need. Sometimes people get very vague in their emails. Preferred name slash specific pronouns. Okay, one moment. I gotta let my cat out. Get out of here. Come on. Anyway, sorry about that. So, preferred name slash specific pronouns. If you have a preferred first name and or specific pronoun that you would like me to use, please let me know. You can also officially designate a preferred first name with the college using the links below. There is a form that you can fill out, and you will be. Um, Note that you can email a photographed copy of the required form as well, along with a photo of your ID. Graphic slash sensitive content disclaimers, mandated reporter statement. Essentially, in many higher education spaces, there may be situations where you may discuss history, trauma, social injustices, mental health. All of that, understanding all of these and understanding that they happen is very integral to the human experience, whether one may relate to them or not, right? Um, so it's important to keep that in mind that we may be discussing sensitive subjects, especially there may be individuals who may have similar experiences. So, in order to understand the assigned readings, it's important to have conversations about these aspects, and they do fulfill course outcome number two. I say this because sometimes people get a little bit uncomfortable talking about various things, but the truth is, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we are all in a big, big world. Okay, there's a lot of people in this world, a lot of varying modes of communication, a lot of experience. And I think it's our job as humans to acknowledge that we live in this big, diverse world. Because if we don't, how can we expect to function within it, right? So that will be something that we will be talking about as the semester goes along. Like reading, some of the readings we will discuss and read may involve conversations about sexual assault, discrimination, abuse, and mental health. I don't think there's any readings in this class about the first necessarily or abuse, but if there are any, I will definitely label it and designate it so you are aware. Um, for this class, since it's a writing class, it's very easy to open up about personal information in your writing. Also, I pride myself in being a pretty approachable person. But keep in mind, if you foresee yourself being uncomfortable talking about certain content in workshops, peer reviews, or in a paper, I would recommend picking a different topic. All right. If you feel like you're uncomfortable with discussing a particular, this is mostly regarding the first paper, which you have to talk about as a specific event, right? Um, I trust your discretion. I trust you to select a topic that is going to be safe for you to discuss. All right. Last but not least, mandated reporter. While I do encourage vulnerability, I am a mandated reporter. I am legally obligated to report to various offices on campus anything that if I believe you're in an unsafe situation mentally or physically, or if heaven forbid somebody's a threat to someone else, I am legally obligated to report that. All right. That's part of my obligation in making sure that everyone's safe, both mentally and physically. Let's see. Academic integrity. Don't cheat or plagiarize. I think actually I need to update this because I did have an AI policy. I need to make sure that I incorporate AI. I obviously when it comes to using AI, I'm fine with you using it to generate ideas, but I don't want you to use it to generate content, right? There will be more of a lecture video on that later in the semester because there is an AI exercise that I will have you be doing, but you'll want to make sure that you are producing your own work because, again, using AI robs you of your voice. While it is a useful tool sometimes, you need to be able to do these skills because you may need them beyond just this space. Let's see, disability resources. Delta College strives to make all experiences as accessible and inclusive as possible. And we are committed to providing reasonable accommodations for students who have any documented disabilities, situation, condition, whether permanent or temporary, that may create barriers or affect their academic success. So you will want to contact this office. They will work with you, and then they will work with me to make sure that your accommodations are successfully met. Title IX, sexual misconduct, gender discrimination, and parenting slash pregnant students. This is a very large, all-encompassing policy that you'll want to read. Um, so definitely keep that in mind. Equal opportunity, obviously Delta embraces equal opportunity as a core value. The student handbook can be viewed here along with student resources, library links, all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff is here. Um, the course calendar. This is a tentative course calendar for the entire semester that you can look at. Essentially, it shows you what week we're in, what homework and reading are due that given week, and then the lectures and discussions slash assignments that we will be doing any given week. So I know lecture video number one tends to be a little bit long, so I apologize for that in advance. But I will say best practices for this class. If you are nervous about taking an online English class, the biggest piece of advice I can give you would be to communicate. If you need help or if you are worried about anything, communicate with me. That's what I'm here for. All right. I'm here to help you navigate through this process. I'm here to work with you on your writing. I am your one of your biggest allies when it comes to working together to troubleshoot things. When it comes to assignments themselves, I always tell people the easiest way to fail this class is to not submit work. You will not believe the amount of people I have who fail because they just simply neglect to submit work. Even if it's something incomplete, I would tell you to submit that rather than submitting nothing. Um, if I've noticed you've missed a lot of assignments, I will email you and let you know and be like, hey, what's going on? But ultimately, even though, this, like, many may find writing challenging, I hope that you also find this an enriching class, right? Everyone has their own unique voice, and I feel like we all have writing skill. It's just honing that skill that matters, and that is what we will be doing the next few weeks. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will talk to you soon, and I hope you have a wonderful first week of the semester.